I chose a violet-pink palette as a symbol of spirituality and inner strength. I created the sketch for this work based on an already formed idea and the finished composition of the painting. I used a B2 pencil and an eraser to maintain soft lines and allow for adjustments. I began with the general shape, outlining the central axis of the figure to maintain symmetry and a calm pose. Then I outlined the oval of the head, the line of the shoulders, and the position of the hands, folded in a gesture of concentration. The sitting, meditative pose required special attention to the proportions of the legs and the balance of the figure. After this, I moved on to refining the silhouette of the clothing, flowing in loose folds, and the general shape of the hair. I tried to keep the lines lively, not too rigid, to keep the sketch fluid. I drew the face minimally, only the main features, eyes, nose, lips, without excessive detail. I used the eraser not only for corrections, but also to highlight certain areas, especially the face and hands. The sketch was intentionally simple, so that color and texture would become the main expressive elements later. Description of acrylic painting a sketch. I began painting with a clear understanding of the painting's color scheme. I used acrylic paints and 3 brushes, a fine one for outlines and details, a medium one for the main forms, and a slightly larger brush for the fills and background. I began with the background to immediately set the mood for the entire work. The main color was a rich blue, associated with silence, water, and inner space. I applied the paint with a wide brush, layering it, allowing the unevenness and brushstroke marks to show through in places. Then I added wavy lines, creating a sense of energy radiating from the figure. I outlined the contours with a thin brush in black, emphasizing the rhythm. After the background dried, I moved on to the clothing. I applied the base color with a medium brush, then emphasized the folds with a fine brush, adding lines and accents without aiming for a realistic fabric. It was important to preserve the decorative and expressive nature of the form. I made the hair bright green a deliberate contrast to the background and clothing. This color emphasizes the connection with nature and the energy of life. I worked with a medium brush, then added individual strands in the direction of hair growth with a fine brush. I left the lines slightly chaotic to give the hair a lively appearance. I approached the face carefully and slowly. I used light nude shades, applying them in thin layers. It was important to maintain a calm, focused expression. I drew the eyes and lips with a fine brush, using minimal tools, without excessive detailing so as not to overwhelm the image. Finally, I added small elements, nails, finger contours, accents on the folds of the clothing, and the ornamental circle behind the figure. These details unite the composition and give the work a finished look. The black outline became the final touch, emphasizing the painting's graphic quality. Critical evaluation of the work. What worked well? Strong color expression and bold contrasts. A clear central composition that creates a sense of calm. Interesting combination of graphic and painted elements. The image is easy to read and remember. What didn't quite work? The proportions of the legs and arms could be more anatomically accurate. The face looks a bit flat, some soft shadows could be added. The background is too monochromatic in places, lacking depth. What could be added or changed? Subtle color transitions in the background. More volume in the clothing due to the chiaroscuro. Thin colored lines instead of a pure black outline in some places. Style and audience. The painting is executed in the style of naive symbolism, with elements of art brut and decorative illustration. It may appeal to people interested in spiritual practices, meditation, esotericism, as well as those who enjoy bright, emotional, and unconventional images. The work is well suited for posters, covers, art projects, and personal collections.